It was found in a secluded section of the Oconee Forest Park, and police say she was killed nearby and dragged there. There are several dirt pathways that students will commonly run on, and it's here where they say Laken was attacked and killed.
When Laken Riley's body was found last Thursday afternoon near the University of Georgia campus, she was already dead, but before that, she tried to call 911. Jose Antonio Ibarra, the illegal alien charged in her murder, allegedly stopped her from finishing that call. Now, we know that a recording of the call exists, but police won't release it. We also know that it could provide much-needed insight into the final moments of Laken Riley's life and what this monster did to her. Now, until we get that recording, many of the disturbing details we've come to know from the arrest affidavit. In addition to Riley's murder, Ibarra is charged with kidnapping, holding her against her will. He's accused of aggravated assault with the intent to murder by causing great bodily harm with an object. What kind of object, we do not know. Now, the aggravated battery charge he's accused of, maliciously causing bodily harm, was involved in the serious disfigurement of Laken Riley's skull. This is absolutely terrifying, and as a mother, I think about how her family is possibly coping with just the sheer terror of what their daughter was put through by the demon who did this to her. President Trump spoke with the family yesterday. He touched on that a little bit today. Joining us now with his perspective on what we've learned from this affidavit and further questions it all raises, Joseph Scott Morgan, expert, investigator, distinguished scholar of applied forensics at Jacksonville State University. Joseph, I want to go through this affidavit piece by piece with you, starting with that 911 call interference. What does that tell you?
You know, Laura, thanks for having me, by the way. That bit is probably one of the most innocuous things, but I think that it's a real tell here. When you begin to think about this, it goes to her awareness, right? She had an awareness that this individual was coming after her. Ergo, you have her facilitating a call, and at some point in time, that call was ceased. We don't know what the status of that phone is. Obviously, she had one. There's a lake there immediately adjacent to this path or one of these paths. I think many of us are wondering if that had been tossed in there, perhaps. But the bigger picture is that if he was lying in wait for her, something gave him away so that she had an awareness that she was about to be attacked. And more importantly, she was in fear at that moment in time.
So in other words, she could have seen him following her, or something didn't add. I mean, it could be as simple as that. She saw him, he might have said something, and it scared her.
Yeah, attempting to engage her, perhaps. Again, this is all speculative. And, you know, one of my thoughts, Laura, was the fact that this is kind of a densely wooded area immediately adjacent. You've got these paths or trails that students run on, this sort of thing. It would be very easy for him to kind of sequester himself in this environment and set up a hide where he watches for an opportunity to prey on a young woman that might be jogging by. I don't know at this point that she was necessarily targeted specifically. She may have just fit a type for him, and he sprung at that moment in time. I think that there could be forensics there if this was a hide.
Women just can't be running by themselves in the United States of America, or hiking, or pretty much doing anything, even during the day. Now, it's being reported also that a neighbor of the man accused of killing Laken Riley said that he saw this individual throw bloody clothing and evidence in dumpsters around the apartment complex where he lived. The neighbor was telling News Nation they caught it all on their Ring doorbell camera. Again, more guilty behavior.
Yeah, and that goes to that other disturbing bit that you had mentioned just a moment ago, and that's this idea of disfigurement with this unknown object at this point in time. And so from a forensic standpoint, the GBI, we saw images of them out at the dumpster sites collecting items out of those trash cans. That could be contact trace evidence that were on his clothing, perhaps. We don't know the status of her clothing, but if he had blood on his clothing, he's trying to put as much distance, perhaps, between himself and those 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 items of clothing that would be very damning. And that goes to another part here where it's not like he's necessarily out of his mind. He has an awareness of fear here.
You bet.
He knows that he needs to separate himself from this because that could potentially be damning evidence.
Yeah, death penalty. Joseph, thank you.
Ever wondered how to feel safer in a world that sometimes feels unpredictable? Check our SOS fobs that are taking our nation by storm. These personal safety devices, small enough to clip onto your shirt, purse, belt, blouse, or dress, are more than just a fashion statement. They're a lifeline. Parents of teenagers swear by the SOS fobs. Picture this: your child needs help, but their phone is buried in a backpack. Or worse, they don't have one at all. With a simple press of a button on their SOS fob, they're instantly connected to a live agent at a monitoring station, ready to assist. Corporate women, too, find comfort in the SOS fobs. Late-night meetings and dimly lit parking garages can feel less daunting when you have a live agent just a button press away. It's not just about emergencies. It's about feeling safe and secure every step of your way. College students also find the SOS fobs extremely valuable. Picture a young woman needing to walk a long distance from her car to her dorm late at night. With the SOS fob, she doesn't have to make that journey alone. She can request a 10-minute monitoring window, and a live agent will stay with her until she reaches her destination. But the SOS fobs are more than just a safety companion. They're smart. They can detect a fall and automatically alert an agent without needing to press the button. Pair them with a GPS system, and they can even give live feeds to cameras at the location. But don't just take our word for it. Call 281-859-8810 to order an SOS fob for yourself or for someone you care about. The world is becoming more and more unpredictable, but with the SOS fob, you can feel a bit safer. Call today to talk to a live person.